There we go. Should be up and running. Just doing my sound check to make sure I've got no technical difficulties and allow people to jump into the room. And once that's all sorted out, we will start. I'm just making sure I've got it all sorted, that's all. Alright, sound is good. I can hear it coming through. So that's good news. Right, so for anybody who hasn't been part of my live streams before, I will put the start time down in the description if you're re-watching this video. And for anybody who's not been part of my live stream, normally what I will do is I'll present everything first and then I will answer questions and respond to you. But by all means, chuck up your feedback, any questions you might have, anything you want to add, or just say hi to me. That's perfectly fine. But what I want to do first is just crack this out as quickly as possible. And that seems like the most sensible thing to do, so we will start. Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Wheeler and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and I also want to talk about a movie that I just currently watched, and that was in fact Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now I know that sounds strange. What does a Marvel superhero have to do with Dungeons and Dragons? Because my title for this live stream is Ant-Man and the Wasp World Exploration. What am I talking about? Basically, this is the premise that I have. The premise for any Marvel movie is usually very, very interesting. But the subatomic world is another level of interesting. And this is the one that I really want to explore because I enjoyed the Ant-Man, the first movie, but the Ant-Man and the Wasp, I enjoyed even more. And there's a couple of elements to that. And I think it was related to my desire to play Dungeons and Dragons and my desire to explore any kind of world I come across. And that's what I got from this. The ability to shrink down. One, in Ant-Man, is fantastic technology in the Marvel world. But you could duplicate this. I'm sure we can duplicate this in Dungeons and Dragons because you've got things called magic, right? So stealing from the new Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, it's possible to take some of the parts and ideas from that and incorporate that into not a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, but maybe just a Dungeons and Dragons adventure. Something short, not too long, something that the players will find very, very different to what they're used to. So traveling to the subatomic realm or the quantum realm, how can you do this? There's probably more than a few different ways you could go about doing it. The one that sort of struck me the most, or the one that I found the most interesting, was sort of like a combination of magic and submarine or craft or machine. So that's one way of doing it. But there are, because we're dealing with Dungeons and Dragons, right? You can achieve shrinking down to the atomic or subatomic realm by any kind of magical means. So it doesn't have to be a vehicle. It could be by using spells. It could be a scroll that has a spell on it. It could be a potion. It could be a ritual that's performed. It might even be a magic item that is worn. Lots of different possibilities for actually traveling to another realm that's really, really, really small. When you think about it, wherever you are and whoever you are, who's to say that there isn't some sort of world that's smaller than us? You know, are we part of something bigger? Well, we certainly are. I mean, the universe, the galaxy, it's a big place. So a mixture of machine and magic, that will allow you a vehicle that you can travel to the subatomic world if you wanted to. But you don't need to do that. You know, as I said, magic items, the Ant-Man uses a suit and technology. And all of that's certainly possible. And you can duplicate all of that if you wanted to, and in some sort of way with Dungeons and Dragons and magic. Okay, so let's open it up. Let's think about what would be some adventure hooks that would get your players to be interested in going to the quantum realm. Why would they even consider doing that? There's got to be some decent adventure hooks to grab onto, right? A reason to travel to the subatomic world or quantum realm. So maybe that's to rescue a loved one. to see what is actually there. I mean, it's just to explore what you've never seen before. It might be as simple as that and nothing else. Or it could be to pursue a villain who has tried to escape, and their mode of escape has been to shrink themselves down so small that you can't see them. Therefore, you can't squash them. You can't affect them. They're just microscopic little thingies that you literally would require some sort of very powerful microscope or some sort of special magic to actually see them. Searching for secret or new knowledge, another possibility. And look, these are just a couple of adventure hooks that I would suggest for your Dungeons and Dragons adventure if you're wanting to go to the wee lands. And it doesn't even have to be the quantum realm. You could just shrink. They could just shrink down into a different world, and suddenly cockroaches and insects become a major threat. Another way of looking at it. So what sort of stuff would you come across exploring the quantum realm? What would it reveal? What crazy things would you see along your travels? And the sorts of things I was thinking of, particularly when it came to encounters and the sorts of adventures you might have, is something like beings made of energy, or strange parasites like the one that's on the screen right now, that feed on something. They're so small you can't see them, but they're parasites of some kind. Microscopic creatures. All of these things, whether you think about it or not, they're just a different form of monster, and whether they're aggressive or benign is sort of, it's really up to you as a dungeon master. Maybe something like an ancient or exotic civilization. That seems like an interesting way of incorporating Dungeons and Dragons. You're still utilizing the sorts of things you had before, right? The only difference is you're just doing it on a smaller scale. What about the harsh environment? You're dealing with possibly an alien environment or wilderness that they've never come across before. So this is the sort of thing that I think is quite fun. So battling monsters, and they could be, for all you know, they might be mechanical in nature, not just organic. And I've provided you with an example. Monsters that travel between space and time. So that's a different level of monster, isn't it? It's not the sort of monster we're normally used to. Most of the monsters we're used to are just monsters that don't sort of trip between one place and another, between time and space. It's very Doctor Who-ish, actually, when I think about it. Very Doctor Who-ish. Now, what about exploring a world that's subatomic, where there are gods that link the very fabric of space, time, energy, and even thought, beings of thought? Maybe even an alien entity that's in spirit form, so encountering things that are more of a spirit rather than a physical being. So traveling space, even if it seems like it's a strange way of lining up any kind of adventure, I think this is actually quite an exciting possibility myself. Honestly, I'd love to give it a go sometime, and I probably will eventually. I just need enough time to sort of pull it all together. So I was kind of wondering, look, when you travel into space, outer space, right, it's an astronaut. So what would it be? Would it be a cosmonaut if you were traveling into inner space, or into the quantum realm? Possibly. So look, I thought I would present this as an idea, simply because I was so excited by the Ant-Man and Wasp movie. It was so funny, it was really exciting. I actually felt like it was even better than the Ant-Man movie, which I still enjoyed. And it just opened up a whole lot of ideas, which I really wanted to share with you. So hopefully you found this helpful, informative, or even remotely interesting in some way. And if you did, awesome. Share and like the video. Look, if you don't usually watch my channel and you're not subscribed and you like this sort of thing, I don't know that I'll necessarily do this all the time, but I certainly I like movies a lot, and I certainly like to incorporate movies into my Dungeons and Dragons adventures. So if you're interested, you could subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified when I go live and when I publish a new video. Look, if you want to support me, you did by showing up at this time. I realize a lot of people will still be asleep, but showing up, watching this live stream was really helpful. Watching this video, if you're re-watching it for the first time, that's helpful too. I don't do Patreon. Down in the description you'll find affiliate links. You know, all the channels do that sort of thing. The only thing is I don't seem to be an Amazon influencer anymore. I believe I didn't get enough traffic going to that. So you can still go through the affiliate links. That should still work if you want to support me. If you have questions, hang around. Pop them up in the live chat box. Otherwise, if you're re-watching this video, just put them down in the comments and I will respond. Not necessarily to everybody's comment, but certainly the ones that sort of stand out for me. And if you're just saying hi, I'm sure I will say hi back. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. Bam! That's done it. Alright. So I don't really see too many questions popping up, but I thought I would leave it open because I specifically said I would do about 5 to 10 minutes of live streaming, probably no more than 15. And how's it going, Mark? How are you? You like those ideas, Mark? Look, I thought it was such a wonderful idea, and I just didn't want to sort of keep it to myself. So if you find it useful, Mark, that's excellent news. And to be fair, when you think about it, I think that Chris Perkins pulls a lot of his ideas for his adventures, his pre-published adventures, not just from books, but by a lot of the movies that he watches. And I do remember an interview where he did mention this. And you can pull it from anywhere, right? You can pull it from music, you can pull it from a piece of art, a painting, a picture, comic books, movies, whatever. And yeah, I thought this was a good way of just sort of getting into a different world. You know, there's going to be so many different worlds to explore at some point. We've got Ravnica coming, and no doubt that'll open the world of many planes. And so the quantum realm is just another one. What's that? Reminds me of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Yeah, exactly that. I was kind of hoping I'd have a copy of that. It's actually a really hard movie to get. There's another movie that came out years ago, it's much older than that, called Inner Space with, now who was playing it? I think it was Martin Short and, Meg Ryan, and there was also, what's his name? I can't remember. I know he was a major player. He probably is still a major player. But anyway, that was a cool movie, and it was based off another movie called Fantastic Voyage, which is one of my favorites. I think that could be another video in itself, because that's more exploring the inner workings of somebody's body. Do you know what I mean? And getting yourself injected or traveling through somebody's body to do a quest, a mission, something like that. How's it going, Gain? How's it going, Gain? Yeah, Dennis Quaid, that's right, thank you, you got it. Yeah, man, for the life of me, I could not remember, which is strange, because I watch way too many movies, so I should know the answer to that. So, okay, alright, well, I think that sort of covers it for today. I'm going to disappear. What is likely to happen tomorrow? I think if I get myself organised and I get enough time, we're going to go Scooby-Dooby-Doo. We're going to talk about why your Dungeons and Dragons group operates like a Scooby-Dooby-Doo-Goo. Dear, sorry, I couldn't help myself. I'm a fan of Scooby-Doo, and just sometimes you sort of feel like Dungeons and Dragons groups seem to be operating a little bit like the Scooby-Doo gang. So that's probably going to be the topic for tomorrow, provided I get myself organised. Anyway, you guys have a good night, good morning, whatever. Look after yourself, and if I can get this piece of software to work properly, I'll actually be able to go. See you later.